What is up and welcome back, and today we're going to be looking at the Luka 2. We're going to find out if this sneaker is going to be right for you, for your play style. We're also going to describe the feeling of when you put your foot inside the sneaker so you can find out if it's going to be for your liking. And not just that, we're also going to hit this sneaker with the UV light so you can see some secret hidden details. So with that said, let's get right into it. And for starting off, when you look at this sneaker online, it does look a lot more bulkier. But when you get it in hand, you can tell that it's actually going to be very similar to the Luka 1 when you have it on feet. Pretty much about the same silhouette, but definitely with different aesthetics and materials. And I do have the Luka 1 right here, so you can see that you put it right next to each other. Okay. The difference is not going to be that much. Okay, we turn it to the side. Okay, so there you have a reference. So definitely it's going to look good on your feet. If this sneaker looked good on your feet, this one's going to be the same as far as the silhouette, how big or how bulky it looks on your feet. And also this sneaker did a 180 with the materials. Definitely for the Luka 1, it was a lot more sleek and clean looking. Right, the materials were a lot more flexible, as you can tell. You got a lot more ventilation to the entire sneaker. Now, with the Luka 2, that's not going to happen. It's going to be a lot different. The materials are going to be a lot more firmer and tough, a lot more stiff. You can just see right here, this textile mesh, how firm that is. And that goes for the whole sneaker. It has that feeling of it. The materials don't cave in on themselves. It's all going to be synthetics. You can see right here, this kind of looks like a suede because it's a little bit soft, but it's not. It's all synthetics, and it does have a whole bunch of overlays and stitching. Okay, you can see that right there. So definitely this sneaker, you're not going to get as good ventilation like you got on the Luka 1. Okay, instead, it is going to have, where the textile mesh is at, some hot air can escape through there, and it's also going to have some perforations on the tongue moving up like that. Okay, so there is some air can escape, but it's not going to be the best, definitely if you don't like your feet getting hot. Okay, also when you put this shoe on, the way it feels when you have it on, it does feel that you're really strapped in, and the reason for it, the lacing system is going to be top tier. Okay, definitely you don't feel any slippage around here in the middle area, and then for the ankle area also you're going to be locked in as well. So this sneaker does a whole lot of improvement in that area compared to the 1. Okay, but some people might like this or maybe not. This is going to be one of those shoes when you get into, your foot's not going to be coming out of the sneaker. You're going to be really enclosed in, and then with the cushioning, as you can tell, you remember the Luka 1, it had this cushioning, but it used to stop around this area. For the Luka 2, it continues all the way around. Okay, so you have very good cushioning. Your ankle's in there, very secure, and then the tongue is also going to have cushioning. Okay, so you get that cushioning right there, a lot more than the Luka 1. Okay. So you're starting to get the idea that this sneaker is going to be a completely different beast. And also when you're wearing it, for the feeling of it, if we take a look at the bottom, you are going to feel that the shoe is predominant along these areas for the ground feel. Okay? Around these areas. And then it does have arch support, because when a shoe doesn't have it, I can definitely feel it because I do have real sensitive arches. And this shoe, when you're playing it for a while, I mean, I didn't have no problems at all. But it is going to feel a little bit more elevated than the Luka 1. In the Luka 1, I felt that you do get a very good ground feel right here in the front. And then the arch support really stands out. It almost feels that you're sitting on the middle of the shoe. And then when you pivot forward, you do get that ground feel very, very well. Now this shoe is going to be different than that, like we talked about. You definitely feel more balanced. When you're just standing right there at a neutral, you feel a lot more balanced, and it does feel a little bit higher than the ground. But that's where I see what they were trying to do, because this one you are lower to the ground, but the cushioning does feel a little bit more plush. Okay, you get a little bit your feet kind of sink down when you're going to push off just a little bit. Okay, so this one felt like real nice, real comfortable to wear this shoe, especially just for walking around, not even balling. This one felt real comfortable. And this one with the setup, even though it does have Formula 23, right? It does have a foam carrier all around that Formula 23. But when you're wearing this to play in it, it does feel very stiff, and you don't get that much compression when you press down. So it's not going to be as comfortable as the Luka 1, but the response that it has is going to be a lot more better because it's going to be more instantly. It's not going to be sinking down as much. So even though they do both have Formula 23, but I feel that maybe because this is caged in with a different foam, and then maybe the Formula 23 is not exactly the same. This one feels more plush, but this one more firm. Okay, so I did want to point that out, so you can know exactly what you're buying when if you want to get the Luka 2s. And for the traction, it's going to be very similar to the Luka 1. You can see it right there. Okay, so the traction is very well, but I do have to make a disclaimer. Definitely when I tried out this traction, I felt kind of, I'm going to say it because I try to keep these reviews honest and as transparent as possible. You definitely have to break this traction in because I started doing the testing immediately, right? Sometimes I kind of play in it for a while, then I do the testing. But this time I did the testing first of all, and I almost slipped on the first braking that I did, okay? And I didn't, but I almost did. I almost slipped actually kind of bad. And luckily there was nobody in the gym when I was testing this shoe, but after you break it in and the rubber starts heating up, it does feel very, very good. Okay, so you're definitely going to be covered with the traction. As you all know, the Luka 1 performed very well with the traction, and this one's going to do a very good job. But because it is a translucent, make sure that you're wiping because it does gather up some dust, but it's pretty easy to wipe the dust off, and then it grips pretty good. Okay, so there you have it for the bottom sole. And also, I do want to mention that this sneaker right here, I feel is a sneaker that more people can wear than the Luka 1. Okay, the Luka 1 was very minimalist. Okay, the materials weren't as supportive, right, like we talked about. Now, this shoe right here, the Luka 2, I feel that even some centers can wear this shoe because it is very firm and very supportive. And the only drawback is going to be with the cushioning setup because it's more stiff and firm. That's just the feel of this sneaker. So if you're a big time jumper, definitely those landings aren't going to be the best. You're going to feel it a lot more than a sneaker like this one where it kind of compresses a little bit. But this one is closer to the ground. So as we all know, the Luka line is not designed for high flying. It's designed more for groundwork, right? If you're shifty, you're a skilled player, it's going to work very well. And this Luka 2, I feel that they just made it so it's a shoe that can take more abuse, that you can put more force into it. Now, I do want to make a disclaimer again. When I was doing the jump test on this sneaker, I felt very good landing in the front, in the middle, but in the back of the heel, I did feel a tiny bit of pain, okay? So, not a whole lot, just a tiny bit. And like we said, it's not a jumper shoe, so just have that in mind. If you're landing, try to land in the front, nice and balanced, or if you can land in the middle, that's going to work out too. But if you're landing too much in the back, eventually maybe you could have an injury, especially if it's an uncontrolled landing. So I did want to point that out just so if you're a heavier player and you like to jump, or you're a high flyer, you're making sure you're landing in this part of the sneaker. I'm also going to give you a sneak peek of the insert. I'm not going to pull it out because in these type of sneakers that fit real snug, it is going to be difficult to put it back in. But this insert right here, I do like it. It's better than your normal insert. Okay, it's not going to be the most plush insert because again, this shoe's goal is to have that firm, responsive feel. So definitely this insert provides a little extra cushioning right there. Like I said, it's not going to be the best or the cheapest, kind of something in between, a little bit better than middle, okay, than medium quality. And then you are going to have a stroller board. You can see it right there. And as you all know, if you do look at a lot of sneakers, sometimes that stroll board is also very plush and soft. And for this one right here, it is going to be stiff. Okay, it's going to be that stiff material. Kind of sometimes looks and feels like a straw material. Like there's a whole bunch of straw just intertwined with each other. So again, it all goes with the theme of the sneaker for that firm, responsive, real stiff feeling. And lastly, for sizing, the majority of people can go true to size. And if you are a wide footer like myself, just go a half size up. And this shoe, I feel, is intended to fit somewhat snug for performance reasons. So as long as you stick to those sizing that we described, then you are going to be covered. So that's going to do it for the Luka 2. I think it is a great basketball sneaker that a lot of different people can wear. And definitely if you do like the aesthetics with the whole UV light, I mean, it's just going to be an added detail. And the price tag is going to be 130 USD, and I feel it is worth it. I feel it's a sneaker that is going to last. Definitely with the materials for the upper, it can last a real long time. Just if you do use it indoors, make sure that you're wiping, because it can collect some dust, and I wouldn't recommend it for outdoors. Okay, definitely a shoe like this is going to be a lot better that you keep it indoors. Okay, so with that said, these were the Luka 2s, and hopefully if you did like this review, that you like and sub. I am a smaller channel, so every little bit does help out a whole lot. And with that said, we'll be back next time with more. Until then, peace.